Manifestation is often sold as a secret code, a mystery reserved for those who master endless techniques. But the truth is the opposite. It's not complexity that unlocks the field, it's radical simplicity. And that very simplicity is what almost no one dares to practice. Because if it's really this simple, then why isn't everyone living the life they desire? What comes next will expose the hidden reason and why this one shift changes everything. Most people believe manifestation is about adding more affirmations, more rituals, more techniques. They pile layers of effort, convinced that if they just try harder, the universe will finally listen. But in truth, this is the very trap that keeps them locked in the same cycle. Because the field is not activated by excess, it is disturbed by it. Think of it like a signal drowned in static. The more noise you add, the weaker the broadcast becomes. And this is why so many seekers feel exhausted. They are not failing because they are unworthy. They are failing because they are broadcasting distortion. The human mind is addicted to control. It wants formulas, guarantees, proof. It clings to struggle because struggle feels familiar. So when it hears that manifestation could be simple, it resists. It demands complexity. But here's the paradox. The more complicated you make it, the further you drift from the signal. In the quantum, effort becomes interference. Forcing is friction, and the harder you push, the more you push away. But ask yourself this: why does the mind resist simplicity? Why does letting go feel so unnatural? Why does the very idea of ease trigger fear? The answer lies in how we've been conditioned. From birth, we are taught that value equals effort. That worth comes through struggle. That results belong only to those who grind. And so, even in manifestation, people carry the same programming. They try to fight their way into the quantum field, when the field has never required force. And here is where everything begins to collapse. If your thoughts say, "I trust," but your body is tense, your heart closed, your nervous system braced for failure, the field doesn't hear your words. It hears your incoherence. This is the mistake almost everyone makes. They confuse words with frequency. They believe the universe listens to what they say, but the universe only listens to what they are. So here is the revelation. Manifestation fails not because it's too complex, but because simplicity is unbearable to the ego. The simplicity is there, but few dare to trust it. And that leads us to the next question. If the field doesn't respond to effort, then what does it respond to? If words and rituals are not the key, then what is the signal that collapses possibility into reality? At the heart of this lies the quantum field, an invisible sea of possibilities, surrounding you, penetrating you, shaping you. Every outcome you can imagine already exists here. Success and failure, abundance and scarcity, love and loneliness. All of it floats as waves of probability, waiting to be observed, waiting to collapse into form. But here's the truth that most miss. The wave does not collapse because you demand it. It collapses because you embody it. Think of the quantum field as a mirror. If you stand before it begging for change, it reflects your desperation back at you. If you stand before it armored in doubt, it reflects resistance. But if you stand in alignment, coherent in thought, emotion, and action, it reflects that coherence with precision. Not because it favors you, but because it cannot do otherwise. The field is impartial. It does not reward effort, it mirrors frequency. This is why so many people feel stuck. They chant, visualize, perform rituals, but deep down they vibrate in fear. They broadcast lack. They radiate scarcity, and the field listens not to the surface words, but to the deeper signal underneath. Have you ever repeated an affirmation 1,000 times, only to feel nothing change? It's not because affirmations don't work. It's because your nervous system was still broadcasting the opposite. Your words were saying, "I am abundant," but your body was whispering, "I am afraid." Which one do you think the quantum field hears more clearly? This is where the science and the spirituality converge. Physicists speak of the observer effect, that particles exist in a state of pure possibility until observed, until attention collapses the wave into form. Spiritual traditions speak of embodiment, the state of becoming that which you seek. Different languages, but the same truth. Reality responds not to your wish, but to your signal. Imagine you are a radio. If you want to hear jazz, you don't demand jazz from the station while staying tuned to heavy metal. You turn the dial. You align the frequency, and then effortlessly, the music flows. The quantum field works the same way. You cannot stay tuned to the vibration of scarcity while asking for abundance. You cannot remain entangled with fear while demanding love. You must change the dial. But here's the subtlety. Changing the dial is not a mental trick. It is not about thinking harder, forcing better, visualizing longer. It is about coherence, when thought, emotion, and action hum together as one frequency. That is when the field reads the signal clearly, and yet, here is the irony. People resist coherence. Why? Because coherence feels vulnerable. To align fully, you must release the comfort of doubt, the shield of effort, the illusion of control. To be coherent is to stand naked before the field and say, "This is who I am." And for most, that simplicity is unbearable. Ask yourself, how many times have you tried to manifest from the mind alone, while your body still carried the memory of fear? How many times have you demanded a new life while still living as the same old self? How often have you tried to force the field to deliver something your nervous system was not yet ready to receive? This is the hidden error. The field is not waiting to give you what you want. It is waiting for you to become what you seek. Think of it this way. When you speak words, you don't believe. When you visualize outcomes, you secretly doubt. When you force your body into practices, it resists. You're sending a scrambled signal, like trying to broadcast 2 radio stations at once. And what does the field do with a scrambled signal? It reflects chaos. It mirrors distortion. So here is the question we must ask. If the quantum doesn't respond to words and it doesn't respond to effort, then what exactly does it respond to? What is the real language of the field? The answer is coherence, a unified signal where thought, heart, and body align. But the deeper question is, how do you reach coherence when you've been conditioned for fragmentation? How do you tune the dial when your mind, emotions, and actions are playing 3 different songs at once? That is where we must go next. The greatest obstacle in manifestation is not a lack of desire. Everyone wants something. The obstacle is not a lack of effort either. Most people are trying harder than ever. The real obstacle is incoherence. Your mind says one thing. Your heart feels another. Your actions follow a different path. And the result is a scrambled signal that the quantum field cannot translate. Think of it like 3 musicians playing 3 different songs at the same time. One is in jazz, the other in heavy metal, the third in classical. Each might sound beautiful on its own, but together it is nothing but noise. This is the reality most people broadcast every day. Mental affirmations in one rhythm, emotional vibrations in another, embodied actions in a third. And the field, precise as it is, mirrors back not harmony, but chaos. This is why people repeat affirmations, yet still feel empty. It's why they visualize every morning, yet continue to attract the same patterns. It's why they journal intentions, but watch their lives loop in familiar pain. The problem is not the practice itself. The problem is that the practice is fractured. You can say, "I am abundant," but if your chest is tight with anxiety, the field hears the tension, not the words. You can visualize love, but if your nervous system is bracing for rejection, the field hears the fear, not the vision. You can script success, but if your actions betray self-doubt, the field hears hesitation, not confidence. And here's the unsettling truth. In the quantum, your subconscious always wins. Scientists have shown that about 95% of your patterns are run by subconscious programs, memories, traumas, beliefs formed long before you chose them. This means that even if your conscious mind is affirming abundance, if your subconscious is still locked in survival, the field reads survival. And survival collapses a timeline of scarcity, no matter what you say on the surface. Have you noticed how often your life feels like déjà vu? The same struggles repeating, the same patterns reappearing, the same frustrations returning. This is not coincidence. It is coherence, but coherence with the old self, the old program, the old frequency. The subconscious is not passive. It is the true observer. It collapses reality with every signal it broadcasts beneath your awareness. So when you say you want love but feel unworthy, the subconscious collapses unworthiness into form. When you declare abundance but vibrate scarcity, the subconscious collapses scarcity into your timeline. This is the hidden error. People try to manifest with the conscious mind while ignoring the power of the subconscious. They polish the surface, but beneath, the broadcast is fractured, and the quantum is mercilessly precise. It does not give you what you ask for. It gives you what you are. But here is the paradox, and it's one you must hold close. The subconscious is not your enemy. It is simply an untrained observer. It reflects what it knows, and what it knows has been shaped by years of repetition, by environments of fear, by stories you inherited but never questioned. Ask yourself this: what story is your subconscious still collapsing into your reality? What frequency are you carrying without even knowing? Most people never stop to ask this question. They keep forcing affirmations, keep chasing rituals, keep piling on complexity. But the more they try to fix it from the surface, the louder the subconscious signal becomes underneath. This is why they feel exhausted. This is why they burn out. This is why they start to believe manifestation doesn't work, but manifestation does work. It always works. The quantum field never stops mirroring. The question is, what signal are you actually sending? And that leads us to the heart of the matter. If incoherence keeps you trapped, then coherence is the way out. If the subconscious is the true observer, then alignment is the true method. But how do you reach that state? How do you tune the entire system, mind, heart, and body, into one clear broadcast? How do you silence the noise of doubt and amplify the signal of alignment? That is the secret few discover. And it is the key we are about to unlock. So far, we've seen why manifestation fails. It is not because the quantum field ignores you. It is because it listens too well. It hears the noise of incoherence. It reflects the fragmentation of your system. But here lies the key. If incoherence keeps you stuck, coherence sets you free. If the subconscious collapses reality, then you must become the conscious architect of that collapse. The method is not about force. It is not about control. It is about tuning the entire instrument of your being until every part of you plays the same song. Think of yourself as a radio. The mind is the tuner, the heart is the amplifier, the body is the speaker. If they are out of sync, the broadcast is static. But when they align, the signal is clear and the field responds without delay. How then do you tune this system? It begins with awareness. You cannot change what you do not notice. So the first practice is this: notice your incoherence. The next time you say an affirmation, pause. Ask, does my body believe this? Do my emotions agree? If there is tension, if there is resistance, that tension is the true broadcast. Simply noticing begins to shift the dial, but awareness alone is not enough. You must bring the body, the heart, and the mind into one frequency. And here are the practices that unlock that state. Practice 1. The breath as the bridge. Your breath is the most direct link between conscious and subconscious, between mind and body. Shallow breathing signals survival. Deep, coherent breathing signals safety. So pause even now. Take a slow breath in. Hold it, release gently. Repeat this 3 times. Notice how your body begins to soften, your chest expands, your mind quiets. In that moment, your entire system begins to align. When you change your breath, you change your frequency. When you change your frequency, you change the signal the field receives. Practice 2. The heart as the amplifier. Scientists have discovered that the electromagnetic field of the heart is far stronger than the brain's. The heart broadcasts a signal the field responds to directly. But most people live with armored hearts, closed by fear and past wounds. To open the amplifier, you must practice feeling the emotions of your desired timeline now, not when it arrives now. If you desire abundance, practice gratitude now. Feel what it is like to already have enough. If you desire love, practice tenderness now. Allow your heart to soften, even if just for a moment. If you desire health, practice presence now. Place a hand on your body and thank it for carrying you this far. These practices are not symbolic. They are vibrational. They send the field a signal far clearer than words ever could. Practice 3. Embody the future. Self, this is the most radical practice, to live as though it has already happened. Ask yourself, how would the version of me who already has this breathe? Walk, speak, choose, then embody that version now, even in the smallest ways. This is not about pretending. It is about aligning. The quantum field does not know the difference between imagination and reality. It responds to coherence. When you live as the version of yourself who already inhabits the timeline you desire, you collapse that timeline into form. And here is the paradox that no one wants to face. The moment you stop chasing, you become magnetic. The moment you release the need, the field delivers. Not because it plays games, but because you finally step out of the frequency of lack. So ask yourself, what would it feel like to stop demanding and start embodying? What would it feel like to stop asking and start being? The method is not complicated. Awareness, breath, heart, embodiment, that is coherence. That is the signal the field cannot ignore. But here's the deeper question. And it is the one we must confront next. If coherence is so powerful, why do so few sustain it? Why do people glimpse alignment only to fall back into old patterns? Why is the shift so fragile? The answer will expose the true test of manifestation, and it is where most give up. So why do people fall back? Why, after glimpsing coherence, do they return to noise? The answer is simple. The old timeline is seductive. Fear is familiar. Doubt feels safe. Effort feels like control. But here's the cost of staying incoherent. You keep collapsing the same old patterns. You repeat the same stories. You live inside a prison with invisible walls. Think about it. How many times have you tried to change, only to find yourself circling back to the same struggle? How many times have you sworn never again, only to watch the same cycle return? This is the price of incoherence. It doesn't just slow your manifestation. It locks you into the frequency of survival, replaying the same loop until you finally break it. And here's the paradox. The field will never stop responding. It always listens. The only question is, what signal are you sending right now? The truth is sharp. You either align or you repeat. So ask yourself now, which timeline are you feeding with your signal? The one of scarcity or the one of abundance? The one of fear or the one of trust? This is the point where everything converges. The truth you've been circling is now unavoidable. Manifestation is not about asking, chasing, or proving. It is about collapsing. Every possible reality already exists. Every version of you, every outcome, every path. They float as pure potential, shimmering in the field, waiting. But they do not collapse because you demand them. They collapse because you align with them. Take this in. Every thought is a brush stroke. Every emotion is a color. Every action is a movement across the canvas. But the painting is not revealed until all of it comes together in coherence. That is when the invisible wave crystallizes into form. That is when possibility becomes reality. Think of the wave like a locked door. You cannot break it open by force. You cannot trick it with words. You cannot beg it to open. The lock responds to one thing only, the key of coherence. And once you turn that key, the door swings wide, not with effort, but with inevitability. This is why, when people finally taste coherence, reality shifts so suddenly it feels like magic. Opportunities appear. People show up. Synchronicities multiply. But it is not magic. It is mechanics. It is the field mirroring back a signal it can finally read. So pause with me now. Take one slow breath in. Hold it. Release it gently. As you breathe, imagine the static dissolving. The old noise, the fear, the doubt, fading into silence. What remains is signal. What remains is the frequency of the life you are choosing. And here's the truth that can no longer be avoided. The field does not decide for you. It responds to you. It mirrors your dominant state with ruthless precision, which means that every moment is a choice point. Every moment is a collapse. Ask yourself right now, what frequency are you broadcasting in this very breath? Is it fear? Is it trust? Is it waiting? Or is it arrival? Because whichever you choose, the field is already collapsing it into form. And here lies the ultimate proof. You are not manifesting someday, you are manifesting now. Every moment, every signal, every choice. The climax is not a single event. It is the realization that you are collapsing reality constantly, whether consciously or unconsciously. The only question is, will you finally choose coherence on purpose? Because the moment you do, the wave cannot resist. Reality bends, timelines shift, and the life you thought you were chasing steps forward to meet you. So here is the truth, stripped of every layer of noise. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. The quantum field does not respond to your words, your vision boards, or your perfectly crafted affirmations. It responds to your signal, to the vibration you embody moment by moment, to the coherence you sustain when your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions hum together as one. This is not a technique. It is a practice, a way of living. Not something you do once, but something you return to again and again. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to be perfect. You only have to be coherent enough, long enough, for the wave to collapse. So here is my invitation to you right now. Take a breath. Notice how you feel in this very moment. Ask yourself, what frequency am I tuned to? Scarcity or abundance? Fear or trust? Waiting or arrival? No judgment, just awareness. Because the moment you notice, you create a choice. And to anchor that choice, I want you to take one small action with me. In the comments below, write one word, just one, that names the frequency you are choosing to carry forward after this video. Maybe it's trust. Maybe it's ease. Maybe it's abundance. Maybe it's something only you can name. That single word becomes your signal, a declaration to yourself and a broadcast to the field. And if something inside you has shifted today, if you felt the spark of recognition, if you sensed the static beginning to clear, then I invite you to subscribe. Not as a transaction, but as a practice of coherence. This space is not just a channel. It is a field, a community, a living frequency. Every time you return, you are training your system to stay aligned. And remember, this journey does not end here. In the next video, we're going to dive even deeper into why coherence feels so fragile, why it slips away when you need it most, and how to hold it steady long enough for your new timeline to crystallize. That is the step almost no one talks about. And once you see it, everything will change again. Until then, keep breathing, keep noticing, keep choosing coherence, because the field is listening, and it is already responding.